right, and we're back. This is Tim again, sitting around the fireside with my family. And today I want to talk just a little bit about the Bible. I would imagine that most people in their homes in this day and age have one of these. It's a Bible. And my Bible happens to be a specific version called the English Standard Version. There's lots of versions out there. There's lots of ways to read the Bible. There's chronological, which means that you read it in the order of the years that it was written. You can read it book by book. But my encouragement to you is just pick it up and read it. Now, there's two different sections of the Bible. There's the Old Testament, which is the front half of the Bible. So this much of the Bible right here is all the Old Testament. And it's basically a history lesson of what happened with Israel and God bringing them into becoming a nation, from the beginning of time to them becoming a nation. And then the New Testament shifts gears and it focuses on a man called Jesus. And Jesus was not just a good man, he was the Son of God who came and was born on this earth as a man and lived and died. He never sinned, he never did wrong, but he was tempted just like you and I are. And then he died on the cross and he was raised again on the third day. And we celebrate a lot of our history around Jesus. We just celebrated Christmas, which is the celebration of his birth. In a couple of months, we're going to celebrate Easter, which is celebrating the day that Jesus was resurrected from the dead. In every instance, we even have our calendars are separated by Jesus. We have before Christ, BC, or some people like to call it before the Common Era. And then we have the Common Era, or we have AD, which is Ade Diem. Whichever way that you read history, whether you believe in Jesus or not, there is a clear distinction that's made based off of his life. And when you open the Bible, some of these books in the Bible, especially in the Old Testament, are kind of weird. They talk about things that we don't understand in our culture because their culture back then was so different. But one of my favorite books is actually the book of Habakkuk. And Habakkuk talks about God using people that seemed really evil and really awful. But those people that God used were being used by him for his good. And the prophet Habakkuk saw this vision. And God said to Habakkuk after he complained, he said, "Look among the nations and see, wonder and be astounded, for I am doing a work in your days that you would not believe if you were told. For behold, I am raising up," and in this case he's talking about the Chaldeans, "that bitter and hasty nation, who march through the breadth of the earth to seize dwellings not their own. They are dreaded and fearsome. Their justice and dignity go forth from themselves. Their horses are swifter than leopards." And he talks more about all the awful things that these people do that really scare the world. And Habakkuk talks back and forth with God himself. And God says to him, "Hey, don't worry. I am using them and I'm doing something with them that you cannot understand. But trust me, I'm going to do well in the end. It may not look so good." And by the end, Habakkuk decides that he's no longer going to complain towards God. In the end, he says, "Hey, God, I have heard the report of you and your work. O Lord, do I fear. In the midst of the years, revive it. In the midst of the years, make it known. In wrath, remember mercy. God came from Teman, and the Holy One from Mount Paran. His splendor covered the heavens," and he talks about how amazing God is, and he talks through all of the different things that God is doing, the good and the bad. And he concludes this whole little book in the Old Testament by saying, though the fig tree should not blossom, nor fruit be on the vines, the produce of the olive fail, and the fields yield no food, the flock be cut from the fold, and there be no herd in the stalls, yet I will rejoice in the Lord. I will take joy in the God of my salvation. God, the Lord, is my strength. He makes my feet like the deer's. He makes me tread on high places. He sees that no matter what comes his way, no matter the good, the bad, or the ugly, that God is working and moving, and that all he has to do is trust in the good and the bad, that God has a perfect plan. And that's what we have to look forward to as we go forward into this coming new year. God bless and have a great day.